Well, hey, Dave, here we are again. And what do we love to do?
We love to tell
the
stories.
Okay. So, Dave, I've known this guy for a long time, but not nearly as long as you. And I know you probably have a lot more stories on him. He's just an incredible musician, producer, arranger, writer. He's all those things.
Yes.
But I would love for you to introduce our guest tonight.
All right. We are privileged to have in the room, in my house. We've got a brand new studio to film these in a room in my house. And you've worked in my house before, years and years ago.
I have.
We are thrilled to have you back, Mr. Jason Webb.
Yeah.
Thank you so
Welcome.
much.
And I see that look on his face. He's a little bit nervous about this because you probably are going to tell some great Dave and Jason Webb stories.
We've had a few in this house, and there's a little studio upstairs that you were one of the early ones to work in years and years ago.
Yeah, that's right. In fact, you were one of the first people that hired me when I moved to Nashville.
Did I pay you?
I don't think you did. We need to talk about that.
Okay, see? Here we go.
You know what? You had not been here very long, and I just remember thinking, this guy's way good for being that young. How old were you?
I moved to town when I was about 25 or 6, I think. And I don't recall how we met. I just remember working with you here at your studio, but I also remember some sessions we did at Hilltop.
That's right.
Way like forever ago.
Yeah.
It was a little way back.
He was really young and you were really old.
That's true.
Dave doesn't look any different than he did then.
I know that. I know that.
Boy, I have a long memory, so be careful. But yes, you were just, there was something different. And I had worked around a lot of great players. And it's fun now when I hear people tell stories about, in fact, I've begun to think that part of your name is not just Jason Webb, it's if you can get him, Jason Webb. Because, and it's not loading your wagon, but you were that much in demand.
I've experienced that in the last few months with him when not trying to get a hold of him, but wanting to use him on stuff.
If you can get him, Jason Webb, that's your new...
Awesome. He's awesome.
In fact, there's a story that a couple of weeks ago we heard that was, I thought was pretty funny but pretty accurate. We were talking to Brian and Allison Spear, and they said that Gordon Mote had done a piano thing on Allison's last record, and when Gordon came in the control room, they said, just to be funny, who are we going to get to play the piano solo? And Gordon Mote immediately said, get Jason Webb.
That's awesome. What a compliment. That's awesome.
That's high praise coming from him.
That's great. But that's true. Yeah.
And I think maybe one of the first things we did upstairs was a kids musical. Do you remember that?
I do, yeah. I think, didn't I come in and program most of it?
You programmed all of it.
Yeah. Yeah,
and it had a big band feel in some songs, and back then, you would get guys who could a keyboard player, and it would be keyboard heavy, or you'd get a guitar player, and it was all good, but what you did still holds up well today. Now, there was something that happened on that little record that you knew me already evidently well enough to know that I've been known to have a practical joke. Do you remember what I might have asked you to do that you refused to do?
I don't think that was the very first time we worked together.
Right.
Because
you already knew me.
I was suspicious. And in the course of working on that, Dave just casually happened to ask me, why don't you go in and do a scratch vocal on this song? Which wouldn't have been a big deal. No problem. I mean, I sing a little bit. But this happened to be I still remember the title. It was called The Woodcutter's Rap.
Okay. And as I sit here and look at these two white guys, I know where this is going.
It's a kid's lyric.
Yeah.
And I just, in the back of my mind, went, This could come back to haunt me in a really bad way.
A bad way.
I'm gonna turn that down.
He didn't do it?
Not at all.
not even try.
He did scratch vocals on every other song.
But not the Woodcutters. I'd kind of like to hear that song.
that-
Did you write it?
Yes, it went like, I'll sing a little of it for you. It said, "My name is Woody and I cut down trees, big ones, small ones, anything with leaves. I can make a willow weep, I can make a cedar pine."
Okay. Okay, that's enough.
And it went on and on. It was a musical about trees.
We may want to keep that clip right there. Cindy,
know,
I hope you got that really good.
I have one even better than that. You know who I got to record that solo on the record?
I don't even... Who?
Do you know this?
It seems like you told me, but I forget.
Our dear friend Dale Matthews.
Okay, no.
And-
that voice of his, okay.
And I have the master, and not only that, Dale will be happy to know that all these years, that's probably 25 years, I still have the outtakes from his set.
Okay, that is funny. That's hilarious.
So as you see, that might go down as one of my best career choices ever.
Exactly.
Not to do
because
that
he would be
scratch vocal.
bringing it up again and
Yeah.
probably play it at some
Probably
point.
right about now.
Right about
We'd be
now,
hearing.
inserted.
There was a funny story about, you both know Russell Malden.
Yep.
And Russell got hired with two girl singers to do a karaoke account for Japan, where they would come here and cut all these karaoke songs. And so Russell, being the only guy, there were two girls and a guy, anything that had a male solo, Russell had to do. And one of the songs was Jungle Boogie,
Oh boy.
which has a Tarzan yell at the end of it. Well,
No,
he was
no.
okay to do that because he knew no one in the States would ever hear it. I happen to know the engineer who slid me a copy of
And
it.
you got it. Of course you did.
So we were at a big session at Great Circle years ago, and they all gathered in for the playback.
Dave,
Oh my
And
gosh.
Russell heard the intro start. And
that is horrible.
so your fears were well placed.
I had a suspicion that I made a wise choice, Dusty.
We would have had fun with that. I mean, you would have had lots of fun with that.
I still have it if you need it.
That is so funny.
But yes, Jason and I, we go back a long ways, and before you were married, and
yes.
and just a friendship that, which is odd because you like Ohio State, and I'm from Michigan. We don't normally build those kind of friendships, but
I think we talked about it one time, and we just agreed that there's one Saturday in November that we would just stay apart. Other than that, we're good to go.
yeah, and I know you say that a lot more the last few years when the team above Ohio.
Well, there's a song called Sunday's on the Way. I'm just going to say November's on the way, Dave.
Yes. Here we go.
It's all good. But, you know, literally everybody talks about you as being one of the best musicians anywhere. And the road that you got here, I mean, the Southern Gospel people know you as this great Southern Gospel player, but then you can pull off the jazz stuff and you can do Cecil Taylor and go from there to
Big inspirational.
Yeah.
CCM. I mean, he does it all.
and the cool thing is nobody can really tell what your home turf is because you do it all so convincingly. And is that ever go through your mind that you go, okay, today I got to be this guy in whatever session you're going into?
Did you grow up doing one certain kind of music?
I did not.
You did
no. Of course, I grew up playing in and being inundated with all things church music.
Yeah. Okay.
So that was sort of the baseline. But it was a very musical household.
Yeah.
And I heard everything from Southern gospel records to country records to Sinatra records, Glenn Campbell records,
Oh, I do love
Arthur
listening to-
Fiedler.
Wow.
Just, I mean, it ran the gamut as far as the things I was exposed to. So, and when I really got serious about music, I for better or worse, I wanted to be as, I call it, deep and wide as I could be.
Yep.
Just be able to cover any and all bases to the best of my ability.
Yeah.
And maybe in some ways I'm still trying to get there, but that was at least the goal.
Yeah.
I think you're sniffing around the right
I
places.
think he's doing great. Yeah.
So the pride of you were going to be from East Carrollton, but there wasn't one. Is that correct?
There's no East Carrollton, which is really funny. I grew up in a little town called West Carrollton.
Yes.
But okay.
So yeah, do with that what you will.
Yeah.
But that's another Ohio thing, you can't find it.
I suppose.
But it's just outside Dayton.
Yes.
And one of the stories about you starting out when you were 5 and wanted to take piano lessons, I've heard some of that, and you just go, yeah, well, you don't get to be as good as you got unless you start pretty early. But is that right? It was like 5 years old you started asking your mom for piano lessons?
Yeah, actually, before my 5th birthday.
Wow.
Of course, my mom is a pretty accomplished pianist. She played in church her entire life. I think maybe I saw her play and figured I might want to give it a try. But yeah, She finally found somebody that would start teaching me when I was 5 and a half.
That's crazy.
That's really all I've ever done.
Wow.
And we'll get to a little more of this a little bit later, maybe. But you didn't just go to a conservative music. Do I remember that you got a scholarship?
Yes, I was very fortunate. I had my sights set on Cincinnati Conservatory for 2 or 3 years. That's where I wanted to go, and I applied to some other places, to Juilliard, Eastman, some really good schools. But for whatever reason, I had my heart set on Cincinnati, and that's where I ended up going. But yeah, I did get a really good scholarship, and spent 4 years in the practice room just trying to learn and get better.
Wow.
So
Dusty, you appreciate this, one of my favorite Jason stories, besides the woodcutter's rap.
I wish he would have.
You're an A&R guy. I bet you can find a home for that song.
I bet you I could. I know right where. Yeah, never mind.
So one of the things that I asked you to do early on was I was working with the Benson Company on some of their back catalog stuff. And so part of it was I was going to take and find 10 or 20 Stamps Baxter songs and re-demo them to pitch. They're old classic copyrights, but they didn't have any updated audio. So I asked Jason, I said, would you be willing to do the tracks on those? And he looked at the list and he knew every song on there, which was not what you'd think of for the hit piano player to know
exactly right.
a catalog that old. And so Terry Blackwood was going to sing 3 of the parts. And so Jason's playing them, and he says, he kind of stammered around and literally sitting upstairs in this house. And he said, I don't know if this is right protocol or not, but who are you going to get to sing bass on those? And I said, well, who do you got in mind? Because, he obviously had somebody. And he said, well, if it's not out of line, and tell me, am I remembering this correctly?
Yeah, this is true.
He said, my dad would love to do that.
Okay, that.
And I said, book him. I hadn't even heard him sing.
Yeah, that's right.
And he said, that'd be a huge deal for my dad to get to sing on this, because he doesn't need book, he doesn't need music.
He knows the songs.
He knows the songs. And so you brought him down.
Oh, my.
And those demos are as good as most records.
And I'll bet that your dad absolutely loved that.
Oh, he still occasionally talks about it. In fact, he will forever be a fan and a devotee of Dave Clark just because of that experience.
Okay, that's
well,
really
there's plenty of reasons for him to be a fan.
I think that's pretty much the only reason.
Going there. But that takes a lot of confidence for. I know good singers in my family.
Yes.
That takes really good confidence of somebody that says, my dad is good.
Okay, have you ever heard his dad?
No, but
have you heard him talk?
No.
He's got that George Younce
Yeah,
low.
very big, kind of low.
Okay.
But it's
and he's
very emotional. It's
Yes.
very okay.
and
Wow.
he's sang his entire life.
Oh, I just
So
love
you
that.
actually have heard his dad, and you just didn't know it.
What have I heard of him?
Okay, so Jason, we'll get into some of your production stuff, but one of my favorite, for personal reasons, is besides the Woodcutters rap, is the Jim and Melissa Brady Christmas record that you produced.
Oh yeah,
Which is an incredible Christmas.
So one of the songs, we've talked about it a few weeks
Yeah,
ago with
yeah,
Jim and Melissa,
yeah.
is That's What Christmas Is.
Yes.
And we talked about my dad would read the Christmas story. So Jason went and had different family members read.
I know exactly what you're talking about. Okay.
I pulled a clip of this is Jason's dad reading a line on Jim and Melissa's cut.
And the angel said unto them, Fear not, for behold, I bring you good tidings of great joy, which shall be to all people.
That's your dad, right?
Okay.
yeah.
That is precious.
Now,
Goodness
when you
gracious.
hear him sing,
Yeah. His voice
I know
is
this
just
isn't
rich.
your dad's interview, but
But you can tell your dad we talked about him, and that'll give you some good brownie points. So,
again, to have the confidence in you to
Yeah.
say,
as a
if you're going out on that limb, I don't need to hear him bring him on.
yeah.
And
That's immediately what I would think as an A&R guy. If somebody as talented as Jason, if they said, "Hey, I know this singer," and it's my dad, I
Yes.
would say, "Okay,
I didn't want to delve over into
Yeah.
the world of nepotism,
Right.
But I knew that he could do it and do it well,
Yeah.
And I knew what it would mean to him. He would just love
see,
it.
and I love that. I love
And
that.
I don't remember. It seemed like you said don't pay him or something, but it seemed like we did. I think, but
Maybe you need to write that check tonight.
Maybe you owe him a check
Maybe-
and me a check.
okay. Well,
Here you go.
let's peel that back a little bit.
Okay,
because-
here we go.
So one of the few cuts I've had in my life
Oh yeah,
that I've
You-
never gotten to hear
Oh,
Is
is a song called. Let me think. It's called "Finish
Woodcutter.
Strong." Now,
yes.
you want to tell the rest of the story?
Yes. So I hate to say it, but he is correct.
Don't. Don't I see if you hit the table like this, I have to edit it out. So.
I hate to admit it, but he is correct.
Say that one more time.
It pains me.
I'm sorry, Jason.
But he is correct.
He's like this.
My dad did a solo project not long after I moved to town, and I cut the tracks for him. And he ran across this song. I believe, don't quote me on this. You probably know better than I, but I believe it was Charles Billingsley that had cut it. Maybe.
Yeah. Yes.
But I'm again, I might be making that part up, but he had heard it
You know what? That sounds right.
and wanted to do this song. And then as we're making the connection, I'm doing the tracks and getting everything in order. I realized that Dave's the writer of the song, and I believe we had already scheduled his vocals. We did his vocals here at your studio.
Yes,
as well.
You did this vocals here, and I still. And how much did I charge you for that?
A lot, I think.
I think I remember saying I'll charge you the same as I would charge my dad.
That is exactly what
That's
you said.
funny.
Yes.
So gave him the studio free.
Yes.
Let him cut the song for free. Have I ever heard this record?
We can remedy that,
Jason, we need
That's-
to. Yeah,
That's
make
not a
it-
problem.
and
That's even more reason for my dad to be a fan of Dave's.
exactly right. That's exactly right.
I hate to. I hope he
You're
doesn't.
loving this, aren't you?
I
You're
am
loving
absolutely
You're
loving
loving
this, But again, you know my love for
Oh, yeah.
family stories.
Exactly right.
And so when I got to meet your dad, I totally got it because it was my dad with a lower voice, and just watching the way he watched his son work, I got it. And you've been on every major TV show playing, but I remember, was it the first year you did the CMA Awards or the Christmas show.
Yeah.
That they were like ripped because they kept taking the camera off their boy. It was like CBS, big deal, and Jason is the piano player because he's the best, and his mom was like, well, keep the camera on my son.
He was really good, but I don't understand why they kept taking the camera off you.
That's a parent. That is a parent
Yes.
of an artist.
There is a clip somewhere, and I could probably find it, but I remember seeing it. That West Carrollton is where you're from, outside of Dayton, Ohio. Mm-hmm. The local TV station interviewed your parents on the news. Do you remember where I'm headed with this? About you playing for Trump's inauguration?
Oh, that's right. That's right. Yeah. News travels fast around those parts, and that just gives you an indication of how slow the news is around that area.
So
if that was newsworthy.
They went to their house.
Yeah, oh yeah, it was like a full little interview, and they I think they ran it in the Miamisburg, West Carrollton News.
That local legend is playing at the inaugural ball tonight. Is that right?
Yeah, and might have been on one of the local, like the CBS affiliate or NBC, one of
Channel
the
2, I believe.
Yeah.
I'm making that up. I don't,
maybe. I don't know.
So funny.
But you know what? That's a big deal. And we're not talking about the inauguration last year. This is like 8 years ago.
16. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so you would have been even younger, and now you'd go, well, yes, I expect that step for you. But that had to be a pretty amazing thing.
Oh yeah.
To get that call.
It was, and it was quite the spectacle, as you would imagine. Just all the security and the festivities, and it was pretty amazing. To get to just be a part of that. You felt like you were just a tiny part of history.
Exactly right.
And was there a thing of wanting to get your parents there for, or did they go, or was that?
No, it was all pretty locked down. We had to submit to a FBI background check and just the whole 9 yards.
And they still let you play.
And somehow I made it through.
But that's to come out of that little town. Yes, Dayton's a bigger town, but West Carrollton is not.
No.
And if I remember right, you were like, there's some real weird connection, like your neighbor's grandson's best friend or something produced a record that you came down while you were still in college.
That's right. Yeah, I came down and spent more money joining the musicians union than I made on the session. But yeah, I remember it to this day. Came down and went to the musicians union, joined up. The next day I played on a 10 a.m. session at used to be Reflections.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
It's now called Farmland, but it's in Berry Hill.
Yep.
Played on a single session. And that started, I think that year I came to town 3 or 4 times, and then the next year I came to town, every 6 weeks, and then it became twice a month, and it just snowballed to the extent that when I made the move officially, I had a built-in sort of
was
workload
the one
and
you
clientele.
played the first project you played for? I mean, was it a well-known artist, or could you even know who it was?
No, in fact, I'd love to remember who the artist was, but it wasn't.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't anybody well known. It was an independent.
What was your when you? What I'd always loved it. People like yourself. What was the first record you did? You thought, okay, this is a big deal.
The first one?
Yeah.
Besides the woodcutter.
Woodcutter's right. But that will go down in history.
That would be up there.
Yeah.
That's a great question. The first one.
Where you thought, oh my gosh.
I wasn't in town very long and ended up doing a piano track on a CC Winans.
Unbelievable.
That's a pretty big thing.
And then didn't work with or for her again forever, and then circled back around and have done a couple of things recently. But
you remember what record that was?
I don't.
It wasn't Throne Room, was it?
I can't remember. It wasn't, but a couple of 3 years later that I did a record for BB as well. Yeah. Which was awesome.
You were like going through the whole alphabet.
That was at the time when my career really started to, I was really working a lot and started working on some really cool things.
I mean, CC Winans.
Yeah, at any stage of her career.
And then thinking that he just recently worked with her and seeing where she's at.
Yeah,
I was there back then and she was big back then.
Does she remember that?
But
probably not. I ran into her at an event that Amy Grant does every November, and it was almost like we were reconnecting. She didn't remember, and I kind of barely. I remember doing it, but
I love that.
It's long enough ago that I don't remember a lot about it.
And the little Amy Grant, she's a little part-time artist, hasn't done much. He plays for her.
And let's talk about that. A little event that you do with Amy Grant. What is your role in that little event that Amy Grant?
Well, so I joined up with them and started doing all their Christmas shows at the Ryman.
Which is,
but she also does an event at Lipscomb every year, which I've done forever now, called Lighting of the Green.
I've been there and I've seen y'all,
which is so fun.
Oh, it's incredible, and she's done it for years.
Yes, for forever. Yeah. I did started doing the Christmas show in 2013 or 14, and a few years later I started being the music director. I've been directing all those shows for a long time. We just this is hard to believe, but we just, I think last year, or maybe 2 years ago, I can't remember. We hit the 100 show mark at the Ryman. So we've now done about 120 of those Christmas shows at the Ryman.
And yet I have never gotten a pass to see one of them. Have you, Dusty?
Yeah, but I know Jen Cook and Brian Ward, so
it's just
sorry.
Me.
But I did always see Jason. I'm thinking, oh, that's my friend. I know him. He produced Jim and Melissa.
So another benchmark that Jason probably wouldn't tell you, and tell me if I remember this right. You're one of the few, the only one I know. There may have been others, but one of the few players to ever get to Nashville, and you didn't have to have a part-time job. You started with a full slate of studio playing from day one. Is that right?
That's true, and it's in retrospect a little terrifying to me how I came to town, because I didn't know. I just came to town and wanted to work, and I didn't really realize that there was.
Did you have any connections? Did you know people?
Other than the people I had been working with, I'd been coming into town some.
Yeah.
But you did demos and stuff, and I was fortunate to get you. Some of those early demos.
I was averse to the word no when I moved to town.
So it used to be you were called, you can get him, Jason Webb. Now it's if you can, they added one word after all.
That's funny. That's funny. Dave.
But that is and you have to know now, looking back, when you see so many people wanting that piece of real estate, that lane that you were in, you got to look back and say, man, I was blessed.
Oh, there's absolutely no question. You know, a lot of guys who wanted to do what I wanted to do, which was get into the session scene and then work your way up the ladder and then start maybe producing. Mm-hmm. There was a path that most often went through touring with various artists.
Right.
I didn't know that. I wasn't savvy enough to like make that connection as that's the path. I had just been given some opportunities to come into town and work, and through those opportunities met more people and more work came my way, so that it just snowballed. So you're right. When I moved to town, I started working.
And almost every episode we've ever done, the power of relationships.
Oh, man, always.
And you've seen, there's an old line, and I don't know who came up with it. I wish I had it, but for now, let's say I did. But I use it in songwriter seminars where that person that's always working you the hardest to get you to listen to their song. And my line that I quote from somebody is, when the student's ready, the teacher appears.
I love that line. I love that line.
And the thought behind that is, you keep getting better as a writer, we'll find you. And it's not what they want to hear, but I have watched you navigate the politics of this town in a way that the student was ready, and you didn't have to play that abrasive. You didn't have to say, hey, listen to what I can do. And I've seen it with players where they get on a session and this may be my big shot, so they try to do all of it. You've never been that guy since the day you moved to town. What am I right on that, or how would you explain that?
Yeah, I'm not really wired that way.
I have never felt that about him.
But you've seen it with other players.
But he's so unassuming, but he's so great. I'm not just saying
thank
that.
you for that.
It's as somebody that's in the A&R, the marketing, all that, you don't see. I mean, you see a lot of great people out there, and it is really, but you don't see. I remember when I first met him, I thought,
this can't be the guy I've heard about. He's too laid back.
Exactly right,
Yeah.
and he's so laid back. And it's not. He's not a go-getter, because he is, but it's just a different mentality than what I was used to.
It's a
coming
different
from the
level of
CCM
confidence.
world. Yes, it is.
So
And
I'd
he
love
knows
to
his
hear you
gift.
explain your take on all that.
Well, part of it is where I'm from and how I was brought up.
Yeah.
But then too, I was always I forget where or how I learned this, but very early I became a little bit wary of people who were perpetually giving me or somebody else their resume or their accolades. You know, so I've always been more of a fan of let whatever work I do, for better or worse, speak to what that is, and if that's right for a particular artist or whatever, just let those chips fall where they may. I'm a notoriously bad self-promoter.
But I believe
I'm just
God.
not good
I
at
believe
it.
Boy,
God,
just think where your career could be.
But I'm such a fan of that, because I believe the spiritual aspect of that is, I do believe sometimes we have to self-promote, but that's where when I see something like that, that's where you know God is really moving and using, and he knows the heart of it all. So, I mean.
And again, you just, that whole thing of, in fact, are we in the studio together Monday?
Yes, we are.
I just realized that about an hour ago. But all the times through the years that we've worked together, you take, Ben Spear used to, when he was trying to teach me how to be a better lead player, he'd play stuff at night on the bus, and he'd say, now listen, and he'd stop the tape and he'd say, the great players of Nashville know how little to play. And he said there's something in the analogy Ben used all those years ago was the guy who's always driving at 100 miles an hour has got nothing left in the tank when he needs to pass.
That's interesting. That's a different way of thinking about it or putting it. My version of that is The Boy Who Cried Wolf. If
Interesting.
like if you've got somebody over in the corner just talking and won't shut up, at some point you tune that out a little bit.
Yes.
Versus the guy who doesn't say anything and then suddenly he leans forward and drops some crazy wisdom on you, and you go, "Whoa!"
Wow.
Yes.
I totally agree. Wow. Yeah.
That's the way I've always sort of thought about that. It's
That's not
make what you say or make what you play mean something.
Dad Spear had a different version of that. Yeah. Dad Spear's line was, a fish would have never gotten caught if he'd have kept his mouth shut.
I like that.
I do too. I do like that. Yeah.
Because sometimes, like you say, and people musicians look at an opportunity to play to say, watch this. They don't say it, but that's the only way you can explain what they're, and you go, boy. No. And with you from day one, you save those little pieces, but you take it and build it around the song, versus around you.
That's the thing. It's the song to me is always king. So what does my role need to be to serve, and maybe that's the word, to serve the song in the right way.
That's what I really love. I love a lot. That's what I noticed, especially on the Jim and Melissa Brady record.
Yes.
How carefully he maneuvered and watched you care for those songs, and how he handled the Jim and Melissa stuff. It was so cool to sit there, because that's where I seen you really work. I mean, I'd seen you numerous times, but I really got to see it in action with Jim and Melissa.
Yeah.
And I noticed that, how he said that just now. It was profound to me.
And also, another thing, again, from watching you in years of sessions is, one, you've never bought lunch, but that's another story. Yeah.
Okay. Dave's on a roll tonight.
We go back a long
I know, I can tell.
Seriously, you always have a way of letting all the other players win, too. And I've heard you play some jazz stuff that you know the level of ability in, and yet I never feel like you're always trying to, hey, I can do this, but what if? And I've always loved watching that. Does that make sense? Is that?
Yeah, it's sometimes the way I think of it is if I play on a particular track I'm working on, if I play the greatest thing you've ever heard, the greatest thing in recorded music history, and the rest of the track is not right, the song loses.
Yes.
If I play something pretty decent or okay, and everybody else is on their A game, you've actually got something. So my role is always subservient to mainly the song, but then there's also that element of, well, what is everybody else doing? And I have to play nice. I have to play nice with others.
Yeah,
because that's another thing. If you steamroll the other players, the end result is not good. So it
and
matters.
I'm not going to recommend you for the next session.
Right.
Wow.
There's that.
Yeah.
There's that.
Yeah.
You mentioned my dad a few minutes ago. He's one of those guys that doesn't say much, and then he'll say something, and it makes you lean in.
Yeah, I love that.
I look at music that way. It's like, what needs to be in a song? What needs to be at the forefront?
Yeah.
What needs to be in the background? If it's my turn and I'm supposed to play something in a certain spot, great. But if I'm not, it's somebody else has got to win there.
But just for the record, if I had a voice like your dad, I'd talk all the time. I just want to say that, and I'd do it with a strut.
I'm gonna be quiet.
He'll enjoy that. He'll like that.
I'm gonna play the quiet game for a few minutes, because then I want to say something, but I'm not going to.
So, my dad, who's been gone almost 10 years now, but he was over here one day when you were playing, and he was still talking about that years later, about he could play in all those keys.
Yeah.
And that's just a great way to describe it.
That's so funny.
And I've handed you charts in the studio that I'm such a limited player that I'm thinking they're going to hate me for this. And you play it just like it might as well be in the key of C, and even joke about it. And I'm curious, are there any charts that you get through the years that you go, boy, this one's going to take a while?
There have been a few.
I want names.
Well, let me say this. So, one of my running jokes is that, and maybe it's not a joke, but is that I play just as badly in one key as I do the next. So I'm an equal opportunity hack when it comes to keys. No, I grew up intentionally. If I could play something in one key, there were 11 more. Before I really knew that, I had to do the other 11. Yeah. Then I felt like I knew it.
Wow. That's amazing.
That was really the the that made sense to me.
And
that's amazing.
My philosophy is the opposite. Can we do it in this one key?
In this one key?
That's the only one I can play.
No, that sounds like my guitar playing. If I could stay in G, I might be okay. But
you've got an old 68 Gibson?
Country Western, yes. I love that guitar.
Wow.
And you've got a Music Man bass, is that right?
Music Man, yes.
Wow.
And you probably don't know this, but I came into possession of my uncle's 57 D28 a couple years ago.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah.
Wow.
You're going to bring that Monday?
I might be coerced into letting you take
But
a
you've
look.
played. I mean, you go to the B3 or the Whirly. But don't I remember one time you pulled out a accordion and played?
I play accordion. Yes, I don't tell too many people that,
Okay,
but
growing up United Pentecostal, I am very intrigued by that. Very intrigued by that because all United Pentecostals, preachers' wives, played the accordion with a little hanky over there.
Well, that's what
probably
he wanted to-
Nazarene women did that too in the early
When he
days.
wanted to grow up and be a United Pentecostal preacher's wife.
All my United Pentecostal friends, that is not a slam. That is not a slam. But I can't. I've always been intrigued. But okay, Jason, I'm gonna find us an artist, and you're gonna produce, and we're gonna have an accordion song.
well, so full disclosure, first of all, I don't tell people I play, and I when people find out I do play, I let them know that I only bring the accordion out of the house if somebody really begs
Yes.
me to do it.
That is so.
No, I didn't grow up playing. I didn't grow up playing Hammond organ either. Those
Because that's
were
what
skills.
I always think of him as a Hammond organ to play as an organ.
My
player.
very first instrument that I
Wow.
bought with my own money was a accordion. And if I
Are
remember
you
right, it's been a week or so, but like the C chord had the little indention in it. Was
Yep. Yep.
Well, okay.
You
There's
still
so
have
many.
it.
There is so many things about that an accordion, Dave.
But
the Spears, they had an accordion. Mom Spears.
Yeah, way before my time. But yes, that was, and the deal was, the only reason I bought it, my dad was raised so poor, and he always said, if you ever get a chance to buy an instrument, you buy it. So we heard about one, and he said, that'd be a good price, and I bought it. It was
Well,
like-
because we've had some great interviews, but I think of the Rambos. The lady they hired, their first album cover. She has an accordion. The Magruders, she had an
Yes.
accordion. Lanny Wolf on one of his first trio records. I want to say with his sister and his wife Marita, they had an accordion. I mean, it was a big deal for those Pentecostal.
And they were
charismatic-
loud.
And they were loud. And I knew many of people that would play it and just dance all over that stage.
I didn't dance when I played, and I don't think you did either. If I'm,
I am going to hear Jason and you do an accordion duet one
know
of these
what?
days.
Do you still have the accordion? That's the
no,
question.
I do not.
We are going to find. Do you have yours?
I have a couple actually.
We are going. I'm
I
telling
can let
you
him
what,
borrow one.
If you have
We
two,
are going to do this. This is Cindy.
What's the joke? What's the joke? Don't leave the accordion in the back seat of your car because somebody will break in and leave another one. It's that sort of thing.
Okay, that's funny.
when I think of the instruments that I've had over the years, I had no business owning.
I think that is funny that you said. Did you literally say that was one of the first instruments you bought?
It literally was, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Folks,
And I'm
sorry.
trying to think. The number, it's been a long time ago, obviously, but do they come in like 124 bass or something? How do they qualify them?
Well, there are all different kinds and shapes and sizes, and
But would that number make any sense?
sure. Do you remember the brand? Like, was it? I shouldn't even. He's
I
not going
just
to
want to know,
remember.
do you
He's
play
not
the
gonna-
accordion on the Amy Grant Christmas
I
tour?
do not.
I bet you do this year.
I'll bet you I'm calling a couple of people.
Now I don't play. I don't play the polka and a lot of the.
Yeah.
It's more of kind of what I would consider Americana.
Yeah, which
that sort of thing. And
I'm very intrigued by this. I'm trying to think what artist do I want to work with Jason Webb for an accordion song.
But you know what?
And I say, you know what? There are moments that I can see somebody.
Sure.
When there are moments when that
There is
works.
a group. Do you remember the Hawaiians?
Oh, Mark and Diane.
So
I don't know why.
Yashahara.
Sure, I knew that, but I didn't know.
So
how to say
the
it.
biggest symphonic record that they did, Don Cook and I produced it. It's called "Called to Worship." Don Wurtzen orchestrated the whole record. We booked every room we could think of to spend that money. But on the big power ballad, the title cut, we had Great Circle filled with symphonic players, And there I sat in the middle of it with my dad's mandolin playing that Italian thing because it needed it.
Yeah, yeah.
And sometimes it's easier just to get out and do it than to try and explain to somebody what you need.
So funny.
But we could talk about the jazz thing. We could talk about all the cool tours, all the who's who of records you played on. And yet, when we have breakfast, which is periodically, what brings the biggest smile to your face is when you get to talk about records you're producing. Is that a different kind of a payoff, or what's? Am I reading that right? Is that a big fun thing for you to do?
It is. When I was a kid, 10, 11, 12 in there, I wanted to come to Nashville, play on records, and end up being able to produce records. That's what I wanted to do from the time I can first remember. So yeah, I mean, I love all aspects of what I do. As a sideman, you essentially come in and work for a day or a couple of days or whatever, and then that's it. But from a production standpoint, you're really more responsible for the whole thing from start to finish. If there's anything I love, you know this about me, Dave. I love songs, but I also love the process of coming alongside an artist and helping to equip them to do what they do. Yeah. I love that.
Well,
he's done it very
well. Thank you. I that's just such a joy to me.
Very well.
And it's as a difference in, as a player you can make money, as a producer you can lose money. Is that true?
These days, that's about right.
That's about right. True.
But we talked with Jim and Melissa Brady. We talked about them earlier. But one of their big songs right now is Ever Present, Ever Faithful. And they talked about in the interview that you were the one that heard that song and said, this is it. And then you brought it to fruition. You made that work. You've got...
And every time I hear that song, and I know Cindy would say the same thing. Cindy is Dave's wife. I've seen him do it many times the last several years. It is the perfect... I forget, Dave, you wrote it, so I have to... it is the perfect song for anything at any time in a service. And I've watched service be almost dead. And I've told Jim, and then all of a sudden you see them start singing that song, and you see the hands go up, or you see the people start standing, or you see them walk down to the... To me, you help take that song to that place.
That's the production.
The production of it's one of my... I know we joke about my favorite song, but I've said it numerous times. It's that and Welcome on that record. Yeah. I think all of the record is stellar. But to me, those songs just...
Last night, I was out in the driveway, and my phone went off, and it was Jimmy Fortune sending me a video. They're on the Gaither Cruise this week, and he's on stage, and he sent me a video of Jim and Melissa doing Ever Present. And, and it's right on your shoulders.
Jason Webb, you're exactly right. I totally, man. And I was there the day they recorded some of their vocal, just watching Jason with them and that song and the carefulness of it. I remember it was precious watching it all.
So you talk about all these artists and all these things, and yet you called a year ago and said that you were producing a new record, and I didn't know the group, but I knew who they were. But you said you were doing a record for the Down East Boys, and I thought, here's a guy playing for CeCe and Nicole and producing Amy Grant, or the Road Show, and you took on what sounded like a Southern gospel group. So the Dove Award nominations come out a few weeks ago, and I would assume this is the first Dove nomination for the Down East Boys. Is that right?
It was their first.
It is.
They were, as they should be. They were ecstatic.
It's an unbelievable record.
It's an unbelievable record. But when I heard that Dove nomination, I had forgotten that Jason had produced that record.
Yes.
And I thought to myself, that right there tells you so much about a group that's been doing this for a long time. but all of a sudden they listen to not that they never listened to a producer.
Yeah.
They've had some other good records, but it takes that step above, and the industry noticed.
Absolutely.
The industry noticed. That's what I love, because I mean, it just makes me so happy when I see that kind of stuff.
And you can talk about this or not. And if you ask me to edit it out, I won't. But you can feel like you at least have.
There you go.
But I heard a little sneak preview of something that you just finished that's coming out, a Christmas project that I literally had. I mean, you talk about your jaw dropping. It was so unbelievable.
We just finished a Christmas record with the Downey's Boys.
Awesome.
And it should be out. I think the official release will be early October, but they will have it mid-September and are planning on utilizing
it's
it.
Unbelievable.
We had so much fun working on that.
See, I just love that.
And not even did you write incredible charts. They sang it. They sang some.
They rose to the challenge. Those were not easy vocal arrangements, and they rose to the challenge. We had a blast. They're really good guys.
I had not seen them in several years. I saw them at the Memphis Quartet show, and they were doing some of the tracks from the newer, and I thought, oh my gosh, they're just fun guys too. I don't know them real well, but Ricky's always been great. They're just. It sounded so. I walked away from there. There were several artists who said, "Who did you?" I said, "Downey's Boys." I just had not seen them but you could just feel there was a renewed.
Again, that's a producer.
It is a great production.
The only thing that would have made that Christmas record better.
Had they put on their strange way
to save the world. But,
well,
you can't have everything.
I mean, I fought for it, Dave,
but he chose "Mary Did You Know" instead.
Yeah. Oh. Well, I think by now Mary did know. I think we're all aware of that.
Well, in my defense, most of and when the record comes out, you'll understand this, but most of the songs on the record are PD.
Which that to me, I love that.
So
there's a reason for that.
One more chance to cheat the writer out of.
Well, you're almost in that age group of where your song will be PDs. Dave, I've got him tonight. You usually get me. Tonight is my night.
Some of these interviews, Dusty's so quiet. And I'm wishing right now for one of those. But yeah,
I can't wait to hear.
It's
there's
amazing.
Nothing I like more than a Christmas record that sounds like a Christmas. That's why I like Jim and Melissa's. That's why I like Greater Visions. That's why I like the Amy Grants. I mean, those records, they sound like Christmas.
This Christmas record is unlike anything I've ever worked on.
Yeah,
it's incredible.
I don't think I'm letting the cat out of the bag here because the record's getting ready to come out. But the focus of the record was to do it in a Celtic style.
Love that. I love it.
So it's we purposely chose material that would lend itself to that, and consequently we didn't set out to do all PD, but most of it's PD because of the Celtic influences.
I'm so
Is
excited.
that in the name of it? Celtic Christmas or something?
Yeah, I believe it's called An Irish Christmas or something similar.
Love that.
It's still we just finished it maybe 6 weeks ago and mastered, and now it's in the process of being duplicated and will be out really soon. But.
That's awesome.
And I love that with all his music ability and chops and understanding of chords and all that when we get together, it's still talking songs.
Yeah.
That's where it starts and usually ends.
Yeah.
And I learned early on that there were really only two kinds of music.
Yeah.
That being good and bad.
I totally agree.
So I don't have a style of.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm equally at home listening to Jim and Melissa Brady as I am to Billy Joel, as I am to Beethoven, as I am to, and I love all of that.
I totally agree. My taste is James Taylor, the Carpenters. I mean, and then Jim and Melissa, and then the Rambos. But I love just great. I call it heart music that touches that, whether it's whatever it just touches that part of the heart.
I think that's the thing. You said it right there. There is a there are two different ways I think people engage with music, and it's not necessarily binary. I mean, I think it's a spectrum, but on one side, it's we engage in music for entertainment and for fun, and the complete opposite end of that is we engage with music because it invokes some kind of emotion. And I think we're all on that spectrum somewhere. I am, dramatically to the latter. I mean, it's not entertainment to me. It's very,
I love a fun song, but I mean, what moves me is that music, heart music.
And the two songs you mentioned a minute ago of Jim and Melissa's Ever Present, Ever Faithful, and Welcome, both of those hit me immediately when I first heard them.
And we've never talked about that. We've never talked about that together, but I feel the same way.
What category? Just out of curiosity, what category would you put the Woodcutters rap in?
In the category of do not do the scratch vocal. That's the category.
That's a great category and a great file. We may have to work on this woodcut. I may have to help you out with that.
I think I can get you a track.
I bet you could. I bet you. Oh, that's so funny.
Hey, this has just been awesome. And I mean,
gosh,
yes, we did an interview, and yet it's three friends sitting here talking.
Absolutely.
I'd love to ask you something, and it's none of my business. But you talk about the emotion in a song, and I'm a guy who, if you know my story at all, you know that a lot of my emotion in my lyrics came out of years of pain. And if I remember in your story, you had like 5 or 6 major surgeries in the years that would have been your formative years becoming a player. And it was like over a 10-year period. I mean, a fairly short window. Am I remembering that correct? Is that something you're comfortable?
No, that's absolutely true. When I was young, I was fairly convinced that my lot in life was going to be to play shortstop for the Reds. I was convinced.
How'd that work out for you?
I got the short part right.
Okay,
I'll set him up. You take it.
Okay, and he went right there.
But I had been playing piano, enjoyed it, wasn't super serious about it, but something I did. And to answer your question, I was born with a pretty serious genetic birth defect where my left leg was growing at a dramatically slower rate than my right. Wow. Had I had nothing done, it would have been a 12 to 14 inch difference in the lengths of my legs.
Wow.
So starting from the time I was about 10 until literally age 20, those 10 years, I think I had 5 or 6 surgeries, and that obviously set my career path on a completely different trajectory. But I'll never forget it. First surgery, 10 years old. I'm in Wilmington, Delaware, 500 miles from home. My parents were coming back and forth as best they could. And I had I'd been there a couple of weeks, finally got up to where I was a little bit mobile, and got in a wheelchair and thought I was feeling okay that day. Went exploring around this hospital, and I wound my way into the gym where they do Special Olympics at this hospital. And it was kind of dark, a little bit light, but mostly dark. And I remember looking down, I promise you this is true, look down at the opposite end of this gym, and there's an old upright piano down there. And I'm getting a little emotional thinking about it, but every day I would go down there and I would sit and play that piano. And it's like, the best I can describe it was like a slow download. I started tinkering around on that piano, and I went, wait a minute, if I play these 3 chords, I can play this song, and I can substitute this chord with this chord, And that's when it all started happening. It was like, looking back on it, it's easy to see, I think, that God picked me up and said, okay, you're going to have a little bit of a thing here that you're going to have to go through.
Yeah.
But when you come out the other side, you're going to be where you're supposed to be and where I want you.
There it is.
And I'm so grateful for all that. It's a long story in and of itself that could be told all about that time. But the end result was God sending me on the path that I was supposed to be on.
It's absolutely amazing.
Okay, so
Oh my gosh, I've never heard that.
well, and I just kind of remember pieces of that,
yeah.
but when someone writes emotional,
Yeah.
or when they play emotional, that they're drawing that water from
That's
a well that I think makes a difference. And
I do too.
And people that are listening to this going, well, I've got this going against me, and you go, no, and I always feel like my 19 years of being sick made me a better writer, because I had to live through some things,
and you're
I
exactly
think
right.
that is one of the things that sets your playing apart. There's a well you're drawing from that I don't think people know.
And I think for me, I always think about this young kid who was 14 years old, abused in every way, no education, no father, but that music, I am a product of what that Christian music, the hope that it brought into me. And why do I do what I do? Why do you do what you do? Why do you do what you do?
Yeah.
It takes us to a new place, and we understand it. I take it really serious. 43 years I've been doing this, and I am still as crazy passionate. I watch you, now Jason. Now I know a little bit of. Now I am. You start seeing.
You'll listen to his productions differently too.
I will, and when I hear his songs, I think, oh, those move me so much, or that watching him play with the different people I've seen him play with, you all of a sudden bingo, there it is.
We're all a product of our influences, and
exactly right.
I have so many. I couldn't even name them.
Yeah.
So there's that aspect, but then the things we've been through, and the struggles, and the just the times where you're working as hard as you can, and nobody sees what you're doing.
Exactly right.
All that plays into what you create, and for me, it doesn't matter whether it's this style or that style, or lots of notes, or one note. Whatever it takes to connect that song with that listener, that's what matters, because it's what we have. We have something that other music does not have. We have the good news.
You're exactly right.
And that's it's so important.
Yeah.
That's just how I look at it. That's my focus. It's connecting that song and that artist with the listener. And if you do that, and the listener gleans something or gets something from that song, it's a win. Whether they know my name or not.
Absolutely.
It's a win.
One of the coolest nights. I've seen you in a lot of different environments and a lot of big shows and all that, but one of the coolest things you ever did for my book was at the Bluebird a couple of years ago. You were there, Dusty. It was a tribute to the songs of Don Cook.
It was absolutely amazing.
And Al Denson was going to, they talked about instead of a big band to come in and play, and they could have stocked that thing with great a band.
Mm-hmm.
They brought in you and
Steve Brewster.
Steve Brewster on drums. Yeah.
So a drummer and a piano player.
And that's all it was.
That's right.
And that entire night,
it was incredible.
Nobody missed the other players.
No, it was absolutely incredible.
Yes, Steve played a little bit of percussion, and I played piano. The thing I remember about that night, one of many things actually, is wanting to do my absolute best to honor Don on one hand, and on the other hand, realizing that we really hadn't rehearsed or done much of anything with anybody. Yeah. So I was already sitting on the edge of my seat, just trying to react, and at the end of the night, hoping that it connected.
And it did. I mean, we walked away from there, all of us.
Did you have charts that night?
I had yes and no. I mean, I had gone to the trouble of scribbling out a couple little forms or keys or just little things to trigger my mind. But Steve, I was literally going, breakdown, to Steve or
I remember
verse,
looking around
Yeah.
and you played every song like you had played it for 20 years.
Exactly right.
And looking around and going, there's no charts.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was real. I was so glad I was a part of that. It was just so meaningful.
Yeah.
But also in the moment,
Yeah.
a tiny bit nerve wracking, just because I wanted to for Don. I wanted to do it and do it well, and keep Steve and I connected with the artists. And the artists, in all fairness, they had never rehearsed with me, so there was a lot of.
And there was a bunch of them.
Yeah,
It was a
How many
bunch-
songs did we do that night? It was a lot.
I mean,
I don't know. I was a little nervous that night myself.
but it was one of my highlights of something going
Yes.
to, because I've worked with,
Yeah.
I've been those artists, I'd sold their records, marketed them, but then to hear it broken down, and I forgot all about that. It was just Steve
Yeah.
and Jason until you just said that.
Yeah.
And how it was so intimate and so precious. And then I can remember watching Dave.
Yeah. What a night that was.
Don, gosh, not you. I never watch you.
Yeah,
I watched Don.
it was. There's so many things I've started to
I
say,
know.
but I'm gonna
I know.
I'm gonna take the high road here. Hey, I know a few of the things that you're working on now, but are there? And we're about to close this down tonight, but gosh, this has been fun. Is any a guy like you?
I love this.
Are there any things that you still have on your bucket list that you haven't done, or are the things that you go, gosh, if I could? I mean, like
And
I'd
not
like
the
to play the
woodcutter's
accordion
rap.
with Dave or something.
And then with the accordion, the woodcutter's rap with the accordion.
With the accordion.
Okay, what do you think,
mean-
Jason? I will put that on our record label. We can handle that. We can do that.
I'm seeing my career going down in flames right now.
If it hasn't by the end of this interview, I think you're good.
Yeah, that's a great question. I'd love to. Anything you? I mean,
I've never been asked that, actually. I've always had. First of all, I'm. If it ended today, I feel like I've had some, great run, and so I'd love to keep walking down this path and working with artists and working on songs, and I've always had designs for years on doing an instrumental record. Particularly a Christmas record.
absolutely.
You know,
Because I
have a
love that
song
music.
for you.
There it is.
Dusty, he's still
You
trying to
have
get
not-
another
He's still-
cut.
So we've done some laughing, and
Yes, we have.
But we don't pay people to come on this podcast because we feel like
What?
it's
Have they never done that to you at the studio? Hey, after you're done.
this is about the ministry.
Yes.
This has been awesome
This has
tonight.
been great.
Thank you so
We
much.
love
Thank
you,
you
Jason.
guys. Love you
Thank
both.
you. Thank
Thanks.
you so
Thanks for
much.
having me, really.
This has been fun. This has been one of the funnest ones.